Welcome back, Word of Mouth Podcast, episode 20. This will be the final episode of season 1. I'm not exactly sure how to do podcast seasons and how many episodes make sense, but nice even numbers, 20 episodes, 10 minutes each. And that makes sense. Then we'll move on to season 2, which I'll talk about in a moment. But man, what a story about Fernanda, huh? You know, she is just such a beautiful, kind soul. And there's people that you meet in your life, and some of them go in this top, 5% category of good freaking human. There's a good freaking dude category, but then there's a good freaking human category. And those are people that are just holistically awesome, and she's one of them. And so is Steve and their little boat crew of a family they got going on. So I think I realized it after recording those episodes that Fernanda, Steve, and I get along so well because we're all patriots, right? Like, there is so much national pride in Brazil. They are a proud culture. They're proud of their country, and man, they love that soccer down there, dude. I love watching Brazil during the World Cup. I always cheer for them. I'm always texting Fernanda and Steve. One of the funniest things that happened during the World Cup when I was out in San Diego, when I was working and living out there, was our buddy Paps took us to the little club in Coronado, and we were going to watch the World Cup. But he was like, no, we got to watch it in Spanish. Well, like, none of us speak Spanish. And he's like, no, it's like watching soccer with American announcers is like watching golf, right? He goes, now check this out. He flips over to the same game on the Mexican channel, and it's just like, go! Paps is like, see, the game hasn't even started yet. And it looks like they're already into it. So, good memories, good times, great people. Fernanda, Steve, you guys rock. And I left some people out of that story that I want to make sure get their due. The Coast Guard guys that were out there with us, Brian and his dudes, man, they were clutch on that scene. Huge help. And the Kuwait SWAT team led by Colonel Dakil, right? That was a combined event that we were all doing together out there when that helicopter went down. And the Air Force people that were out there, I didn't meet them until that night, but everybody was all in helping with that situation, right? There was, even though it was chaotic, right? Like a helicopter flew out of the sky, exploded, rolled over forward. There's stuff everywhere, dude. There's helicopter parts, rotor blades. I mean, it was nuts. But everybody was calm, Just go to work, do your job. But Steve and the guys and Brian and Colonel Dakil, all the ones that ran towards that burning helicopter, you will forever go down in history as some of the most heroic people I ever met. Because as I stood on that berm, wanting to run down there with you, but knowing my job is to get on the radio and call for help, as I watched you all run down that berm to that burning helicopter, I thought at any moment that thing could explode and everybody would die. Everyone that's in it and everybody that's near it. So for you guys to just... And I remember hearing Kyle B screaming Z as he ran down. I could hear it, over the quiet of the berm where I was at. I thought the same thing, man. I was devastated that Z was dead. I didn't think there's any way anybody survived. When I got to the top of that berm and looked, I was like, there's no freaking way anybody is alive in there, right? I mean, that helicopter was completely exploded all over that desert, but they were alive and they did win. So Brian, Colonel Dakil, you guys rock, man. All the Air Force people that were out there, that was one crazy event, and we all crushed it. So, this is going to bring an end to season 1, and I thought, what's a good way to close it up and then start season 2? Season 1 was about alcohol and addiction recovery. A lot of the stories that I've told over the years that people have really resonated with, and have come to, after the meeting, will come up to me and be like, man, that was so awesome. And the way you said this or that, I was doing this and that too. And, or I go up to people after the meeting and I'm like, dang, dude, that was a good story. I do the same thing. And so I was just trying to get some of those stories onto a platform that you could listen to so that you don't have to have a close call like I did where, you know, I could have nearly ended my career over a stupid getting drunk in my room by myself incident that potentially had me walking around the hotel naked in the middle of the night, right? Unknowingly, with no recollection of it. And I don't want you to have a missed call like that or a close call like that, you know, or an actual incident, and then you're like, okay, now I got to make a change. But it's too late now. You know, you've already been arrested or been in trouble. It's on your record, and now you're sobering up, you know, because of that incident. And that incident could be the catalyst for why you're getting sober. You know, for a lot of people it is, and it's a good one, right? But it doesn't have to come to that, right? You don't have to get a DUI before you realize that, oh snap, I've been drinking too much. Like, you don't have to get into a drunken fight with your wife and the cops get called and you get hauled off for domestic violence, right? Like that, those things don't have to happen for you to realize you've been drinking too much. If you listen to the previous 19 episodes and the ones that I talk about alcohol, if those things resonate with you, especially if there are 2 or 3 of the things that I said that resonate with you, then you are probably an alcoholic too, and you just haven't realized it yet. And you have a choice now. You can either do something about it, or you cannot, right? That's totally your call. Like, you know, one of the things that I did wrong for so long trying to get sober was I was getting sober for them. I wasn't getting sober for me. I got pulled into the Master Chief's office and yelled at because I smelled like booze when we went out to do a big event. You know, I had a big fight with my wife and we were drunk and I slept on our sailboat, right? Like, it was, those reasons were why I went back to AA to get sober. And those reasons were why it only lasted 30, 60, 90 days, because I was getting sober for them. I wasn't getting sober for me, right? And when you decide to get sober for you, that is the switch. That is the game changing when it's over, when it's your decision, when you decide that you've had enough and you want a better life for you and your family. You want to be the best version of you for yourself primarily and everybody around you. They're going to benefit from it. Your kids, your parents, your significant other, your brothers, your sisters, aunts, uncles, they will notice that you are different in a better way. And they will like the new version of you that has come to town to party, right? This guy, this girl, yeah, we like her, okay? She's put together. You know, she shows up on time. We don't have to worry when she dips off to the kitchen with her freaking empty wine glass, right? or for me, like my family would worry whenever I had a water bottle in my hand because they knew it had vodka in it. And it's funny now to look back on, but it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing, but you know, it's important to look back on those things, to remember them as a reminder of why you don't start drinking. And that's why season 2 is going to be all focused on beautiful moments. I'm going to start it with the first episode I recorded early on called Beautiful Moments, about how the ballet swept me away. And it was because I was sober. I wasn't intoxicated or drunk. I was able to really appreciate this moment. And so the first episode of season 2 is going to be called Beautiful Moments. It's a pre-record from before, so Chris will have to deal with the audio, but it is what it is. And then I'll pick up narrating and putting more episodes down about blessings of sobriety, about the good things that you have to look forward to. Stories like Beautiful Moments and Welling Up with Pride are things that are foundational changes in the core of me that have made me appreciate life on a way that I never appreciated before. When I step out on the field to watch my niece or nephew play baseball or lacrosse and I see Fredericks on the back of their jersey and it stops me in my tracks and puts a tear in my eye, like, that's stuff that never happened when I was drunk. I blew through life. I didn't look at anything. I didn't appreciate anything. And now I get to. And I hope that you do too. And so this will conclude season 1. To everybody I called out, I love you. Fernanda, Steve, you rock. And I hope you hang out and you start season 2, Beautiful Moments with me. Season 1 out.